Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am going to be sharing my top wedding planning tips slash wedding advice that I have for you if you are a bride-to-be or just curious for when you get married. I got married 2 months ago on March 18, 2022, and I've compiled a list of wedding planning advice that I have for you during the wedding planning process, because I feel that way is more authentic to the moment, and the things that I probably had to schedule or plan are things that you're also going to be doing. I have an all things wedding playlist all the way through my engagement video to answering your wedding planning questions, revealing our wedding budget, now the wedding planning advice, and then later on I will finally be posting our official wedding video. Everything else is already posted and on that playlist, so if you have not checked that out yet, please make sure that you do. Also make sure that you follow me on Instagram to see our wedding photography that is already all posted on my Instagram. All of these wedding planning advice that I have are in no particular order. The first wedding planning advice that I have is to enjoy the moment. Have a long engagement period. It only happens once, hopefully, and you have less stress because you have more plan to plan a wedding. It's so wholesome and so happy to know that you're engaged and that you're about to get married, even though having the wife title, the wifey title is really enticing and feels good. Enjoy the process of life as it goes. And so I personally had an engagement period of a year and 2-3 months, and I think that was great because I could cherish my time being a fiance before being a wife. And it's just stages in life that I purposely have them marked down in my memory instead of it all becoming a blur, getting engaged and then 2 months later you're married. I would personally advise you to have a long engagement period, but obviously it's your life, you do what you want to. This is just my advice. Buy a wedding journal. Got this advice from Alexa Page here on YouTube back when she got engaged a couple of years ago. And with a wedding journal, you make you and your partner write every single detail from the moment he ordered the ring to your honeymoon. You will thank yourself when you are older. Your memory fails, obviously, as time goes by. You remember less and less of a moment, even though it may be so significant to you. But I'm really grateful that Christian and I actually spent a couple of hours writing down exactly how the morning of our engagement went and what he did before to buy the ring, what date, what I was doing, and having all of these memories just written down, the time that it happens. It's just a good refresher for when in a couple of years from now you want to remember the nitty-gritty details of important life memories, and you can just take out that wedding journal and read it through, and it will refresh your memories. To buy a wedding planner like this one that I have here, I got it from Amazon even before I got engaged, a couple of months before, and it was nice because when I got engaged I didn't have to wait for it to arrive, and I'm going to be linking it down below. This wedding planning notebook is just so amazing. You can literally just make your own vision boards of what you want the aesthetic of your wedding to be like. You have a timeline and checklist, what you should do 10 months before the wedding, 3 months before the wedding. You can organize your wedding party, you can do guest planning, you can plan the vendors and like compare the vendors, write down the different prices for each of them. You can even do like a monthly planning likewise, and you have like a little calendar where you can dedicate this calendar to all things wedding planning, and it's just so much fun and helpfulness. You can plan your order of ceremony, the music that you want to have. It's literally like, it literally has everything and even more than you may need to plan your wedding. So highly recommend buying a wedding planner like this. Piggybacking off the advice that I just gave, you should definitely buy like a wedding vendor like binder, and in that binder you literally just like divide the different vendors that you already like signed contracts for using different tabs, and just keep the contracts right there, because instead of just like trying to find the specific email address and the specific like email that the contract was sent from, you can literally grab your wedding binder and have the contracts like in hand. So that's really helpful for when you need that on the go. And you can also use that to keep track and organize papers from the venue, the catering, what it includes, all that good stuff. Outsource and book a wedding planner. This is like a little bit controversial. As I keep saying in like all of my wedding planning videos, when I talk about my wedding planner, I feel it was the best decision we've ever made, because since in our family we haven't done a wedding in like such a long time, like more than a decade ago, we literally had no idea what the first steps and second steps and throughout like the wedding planning process, like what we should do. And because I'm like a really like person if you know what I'm saying, like I'm really specific with the things I want, with the order of things, with like the colors, the music. It was really helpful for me and helped calm like my anxiety, having someone that it's literally their job to plan that for me and have that like on check. And contrary to popular beliefs, I would say, in my experience, our wedding planner didn't like completely plan our wedding and all we did was show up. Like I didn't want that, and I made sure that she knew that. Like I wanted to be as much as I could like involved in the process. Like I was like the boss, I would say. I would put it this way. I was just like the boss. I let them know what I wanted. They took care of the research, of the contacting the vendors, making sure everything was okay and ready. They came back to me with their notes, with their recommendations, and I just like said yes or I said no, let's find another one. So like I was like more of the authority figure and the one that made decisions, and just like tell them what I liked, what I didn't like, what I agreed with, what I didn't agree with, and they were just in charge of like finding them and just like contacting them and making sure that everything was like ready to go the day of the wedding. And that was like the best decision we've ever made, and we wouldn't have had an amazing wedding without our wedding planning team. So I'm really grateful and happy that we invested on a wedding planner. Don't feel pressured to have all of these pre-wedding parties, and by that I mean like not a lot of people have the monetary capacity or the blessing of having good friends and family close to them. So don't feel pressured or feel like a failure if you don't do an engagement party, if you don't do a bridal shower. Those are two things that I didn't do. Christian didn't even have a bachelor party, and we still like felt so good with everything that we did do. Delegate like what you want to spend your money in and your time on. So for me, we did do, I literally have in my wedding planner here like the activities that we did. I didn't do an engagement party. I didn't do a bridal shower. I didn't do a bachelor party or a day after brunch. I did do a bachelorette party, which I have a vlog about it. I will link it down below in the description box as well because it was super fun. I did have a ceremony rehearsal, a rehearsal dinner, the ceremony reception, and a mini moon. And so I feel that I did like a lot of things regarding the wedding. But yeah, that's my advice. Don't feel like you're a failure of a bride if you don't do 1, 2, or even 3 of like what you're supposed to do when you get married. Pick wisely where you want to spend your money in and what memories are like worth it or like capable for other people to attend to. So take it all in your wedding day. It only happens once, and a lot of the brides or people are like, oh my gosh, it happened so quick. And it's just crazy to think that you literally planned this event for months and even years, and it all like happens in less than 24 hours and it's like all done for. So please remember to enjoy the moment, enjoy your wedding day, because it goes back quick. And in my experience, I keep saying this to Christian, and we actually have like different like not opinions on this, just like different experiences. For like regarding this, Christian really thinks that the wedding like passed by so fast, and for me it was just the right time. I was just so happy because I really took it all in, didn't stress myself. What was meant to be would be. If things went wrong, I wasn't going to like worry for that. Like I just like was really in the moment, and I'm grateful for that. And most of it was because I had an amazing wedding planning like team, and Christian also was like really diligent with like dealing things away the day of the wedding, so I didn't like feel stressed about that. So I'm really grateful for both of those entities that helped me have the wedding of my dreams. Splurge on must-have vendors that are important. For me, my most important vendors were the photographer, the videographer, and the venue. And so I really splurged our wedding budget on those 3 vendors because those were my most important vendors. Like I really wanted the best of the best. But for some people, maybe catering is that, or flowers are one of the most important vendors. Music, you just need to sit down and figure out with your fiance like what your most important vendors are and how you're gonna splurge on them, and then maybe like down track other vendors. Create a wedding hashtag for you to keep track of all of your wedding posts on social media. And for people that attend your wedding, like your guests, if they're into social media and want to like do stories or like take photos and put them on Instagram, on Facebook, I think that having a wedding hashtag is amazing because you can just like write down the wedding hashtag on your stationaries or even tell your master of ceremony to constantly repeat it. And then it's great because all of the wedding photos that people post on social media that you may not have, like you can find that under the wedding hashtag that you established it, and it will be there hopefully forever. So that's a good tip. Avoid or tell people not to tell you drama or stuff that's going wrong on your wedding day. You really don't want to be stressed on that special day, your special day. Telling people that you don't want to hear negative news, bad news on your wedding day, solve things if they can, is like really good because you don't stress yourself on your wedding day. But of course, like I as a bride really like made sure that my bridesmaids were all taken care of, that they felt happy, because just as it's my day, like these are the people that I chose to stand beside me on our wedding day. So making sure that they were all okay and that they feel welcomed and happy. Another tip that I have is something that I did not do on my wedding day because I saw a TikTok about it like a few weeks after I got married, and it was about like this couple which their officiant basically like told the bride turn around, and look around at the people that are there, like sitting down, and just like appreciate them and know that they're all here for you. And that's something that I really wish that I would have seen before the wedding and had told my officiant to do that, because as a bride, you're literally the last person to walk down the aisle, and you don't really get to experience firsthand your wedding party going down the aisle, the groom like walking down the aisle, like the people as they arrive like sitting down. So like taking the time before getting married to just like turn around, not look at your groom, and just like really appreciate and take in like all the people that are right in front of you sitting and being happy for you. It's like a core memory that I really like wish I would have had. So yeah, that's like one of my number one tips, or something that I really would have liked and loved to do on my wedding day that I really didn't get the chance to. This is also, I think that this is like my top wedding planning advice, and it is to open a new email for your wedding. Give your partner access to, so you can both get notified of new emails and communication stuff from your different vendors, and can better organize and track emails / contracts from vendors by creating folders instead of just like giving your email address to all these vendors, like giving the email address that is from work or for your personal use. Like it's nice to create like a free Gmail account and email for you and your groom to have, and you know that everything that comes in through that email or everything that you send out is like wedding related, and you don't have to like scramble around different emails that you have, or just to see like where the heck is the contract for X vendor. If you have the budget, do whatever you want. If you literally want to get hundreds of thousands of flowers, do it. If you want to have Tiffany shares, do it. Like, it's your wedding, it's your life, like it's your day. If you have the budget, do whatever makes you happy. Don't really think if the people are gonna think that like it's not their style, or that you wasted your money. Like if you have like the budget, just like make sure that your wedding is exactly how you and your partner want it to be, and for that wedding to fulfill all of your desires. So that's another tip. Don't let people discourage you by saying to not do a wedding, or that it's not worth it, or it's like a waste of money. I've had a couple of people like tell me that, like even like close family members, and I even heard about this like online or TikTok. But to be honest, like I get it. Like when people say like, oh, like I'm not gonna have a wedding, I would just use that money to travel. Like that's fine, but to be honest, in like my eyes, you can travel whenever you want. Like Spain is always gonna be there. Italy is always going to be there. Paris is always going to be there. The wedding is something that only happens like once in your life, hopefully. And I really wanted to have that memory just like in my life, to like live that experience of just like making a huge party and celebrate my husband and I's love with all the people that we love, and share that core memory, like each and every one of us. The next wedding planning advice that I have is to write an A-list and B-list guest list. And the A-list, I would consider people you 100% want at your wedding and obviously want to invite. And then the B list is just people that you still would like for them to be at the wedding. Not like high priority, like your close family, I would say. And you can use like this little B list in case like some people from your A list are unable to go. You can then like have this other like B guest list ready to fill in the gaps, because as you may already know, like you pay for everything at your wedding. Like if people don't go to your wedding, like let's say 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, like you are literally losing money because those are already plates and shares that you are paying for when you tell your venue like this is the exact amount of people that are going to the wedding. Ask for financial help. Now it's not the time to be prideful and prove you paid for everything at your wedding. Think smarter. Like, seriously, think smarter and ask your parents, close family, of both sides of the groom and the bride if they can contribute to anything in the wedding. The less money you have to spend from your pocket, the better. Start a wedding Pinterest board now. The wedding Pinterest board that I have built over the years have helped me so much because once I got engaged and I was like ready to plan the wedding, and my wedding planner was asking me what type of flowers, what's the vibe for the venue, for the reception, what type of chairs, decorations, all that stuff, I could reference back to my wedding Pinterest board inspiration, and I can take note of the elements that were most prominent in all of them, like the different colors, the type of decorations, the vibe of the whole wedding. So having a Pinterest board and building it right now is just great to help you with future wedding planning errands and essentials. Book the wedding to be on a weekday if possible. A lot of the venues have different rates or discounts if you book the venue on a weekday, because on the weekends are when weddings are most probably done just because people are off work, etc. But I really think that you can get away with booking a weekday and have it be cheaper in advance, and then tell people with a lot of time beforehand that they should take that day off of work, like maybe a year in advance. We had our wedding on a weekday. We had it on a Friday. So that's really nice because you have, like, if you're planning a mini moon or a honeymoon, or people work the next day, like it's a high probability that if you pick a wedding on a Friday, like people are not going to be working on Saturday, those that work like a 9 to 5, and they have like an entire weekend to just like recuperate as well as you from your wedding. And then booking it on a Friday is like still a weekday, and people have like a higher chance of taking it off work just because it's Friday. Like I can take it off work, it's Friday, I don't have to work till like a Monday. So like that's a little hack that you can try out to see how it goes. Invite people you want to be there. That it doesn't matter if they are family or not, because you want to look around on your wedding day and see people that you know, not that you don't know. I have one of my friends, which I'm obviously not going to disclose her name without saying like too much info. When she was planning her wedding, like her parents wanted like specific people to be there and like dictate what people should be there or not. And then she was like really sad because she didn't want to not know people the day of her wedding day. Like it's all about her. Like imagine just like looking around and seeing people that you don't know on your wedding day. Like that's, for me, that's crazy. Like instead, just like really narrow down and like think of the people that you most love, that like have played a significant role in your relationship, whether they are family, whether they are friends. What we did in our case was that we divided the guest list into 3 like little sections. So let's say the first one, I had like 20 slots to invite people from my family. The second one was like 20 people from Christian's family, and then the third one was like, let's say 20 people that were our mutual friends. And that way everything was like really congruent, everything was seamless. And in my personal opinion, that's like a really fair thing to do. So there's a little tip for you. Next wedding advice that I have is to DIY anything you can, because we had a destination wedding and we had to take a plane to Puerto Rico to get married. There was a limited amount of the things that we could actually carry in a plane. But if you have a wedding venue that's in your hometown, or you can just like put everything inside a truck, like it's great if you DIY, because most probably it will be less amount of money that if you were to contract like a vendor to do those things, and most of the things are probably gonna go in the trash. So like, yeah, like in my experience, Christian and I DIY'd our save the dates and our wedding invitations, and the difference between just like booking them using a vendor and us buying the materials and DIYing them on our own was like insane. We saved such an enormous amount of money, believe it or not. And I actually have a video all about how we created our wedding invites, and I'm gonna have that linked down below. And another pro of that, of DIYing stuff like that, is that you know exactly what you want and how to create it, and it's up to your standards. You don't have to like pretend to like it because you feel bad for the vendor. Like, yeah. Put half an hour before you want your wedding to start on the invitations, just in case people are not as punctual. You have like a little bit of wiggle room to work around that and like have people arrive earlier, but still like don't wait for 2, 3, 4 hours, you know, like half an hour to an hour-ish. I think it's like the sweet spot, more towards like the half an hour, 40 minutes time frame. The next wedding planning advice that I have is to order swatches for your bridesmaids dresses, because I'm really glad that I did that, because I was going to go with like a super cute color that I found on the brand where I wanted to order my bridesmaids dresses from, and when they arrived, it wasn't the same color as the one from the website. So I'm really glad that I ordered like free swatches. Most of these stores have like free swatches, to like have them like on your hand, like a tangible piece of fabric of that color, and that way you know exactly how it's gonna look like and you're not surprised when it arrives. And it wasn't only like I that went through that. Like I had my ring bearer and my flower girl order like some specific dresses from a company. Their parents called me. They were like, oh my gosh, like the wedding, like their dresses arrived, but they're literally not the same color as the one on the website. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, like I already took that into consideration. Like I knew how it would look like and it's fine, like don't freak out. But that's something that is really, really crucial for you to do, especially if colors and the aestheticness is like really important to you. Stay true to what you and your partner want, and literally block out any other opinions that people may have. Like I said, it is your wedding. You do whatever you want, and yes, you can ask for advice, but if you don't agree, you don't have to. It's your wedding. You're paying for it. Like, and then the last wedding planning advice that I have is to have the Jesus take the wheel attitude, especially when it's getting closer to your wedding date. Like, I was personally stressed because I didn't really like, I don't know, like I didn't really visualize my wedding come to life, and I was like really worried because I knew we were spending like so much money on like invoices and just like contracts and stuff, and I like saw this amount of money just like not be in our bank account anymore, and I couldn't really like visualize the wedding when I was thinking about the wedding. So towards the end of like the wedding planning months, I had like the Jesus take the wheel attitude, like que sea lo que Dios quiera in Spanish, and that really gave me like lots of peace, knowing that I'm just going to trust God, trust Jesus, and trust the wedding planning team that I contracted. And it was like such a good decision to do that, and I'm really, really grateful that towards the end of like the wedding planning process, like weeks before or days before the wedding, I wasn't really that stressed with a lot of things, so it made the experience much more pleasurable. So there's that. Please make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss the official wedding video. I literally got an email from the videographer yesterday saying that my video was in the editing stage, so I'm really excited because that means that soon once and I can get it up for you guys here on YouTube, so subscribe so you don't miss that, and check out all the other wedding planning and wedding advice videos that I already have uploaded on my YouTube channel. And also make sure that you follow me on Instagram to see more of my day-to-day life. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!